Hi guys. I've been thinking for a while to match my interest in geopolitics with my passion about data. It's getting more and more important to stay up to date about the complex challenges the world is currently facing in terms of geopolitics. We know about European Union, we know about US, we know about the war in Ukraine, and many more. For this reason, I decided to start a small YouTube project in which I try to take a specific topic and try to analyze it with the data sources available online. Today, I want to start with Eurostat. Data about Eurostat. As you can see, Eurostat has this data browser page dedicated to explore all the data sets currently available. Actually, I could also create an account, which is pretty cool. What I would love to discuss today, if I can find it, is about migration. I already made some research, and the data set I would like to analyze as first is this one. Final decision in appeal or review of applications by type of decision, citizenship, age and sex. Annual data. We are talking about Asylum. So if I go to population and social condition, migration, Asylum, decision. Okay, here we are. So there are a lot of tables inside this folder. Probably this one is the one more interesting to us. Final decision in appeal or review application. Okay, something interesting is that Eurostat allows visual explorations of the data. But since I want this overview to be a bit more interesting, at least to me, I'm going to use Metabase. So what I'm going to do right now is to download this dataset, CSV. I don't know what is the difference between the two versions. Let's use the first one. Let's also compress the file, why not? Okay. I would like to give a proper file, at least to use the file ID. Okay, I can save, and voila. Let's unzip it, and here we have our CSV. Considering how Metabase will use the name of the file as a table name, I can take maybe this one. Population. Let's do something like this. Something like this. So let's go again. I rename something like this. Okay, now let's try to upload this dataset to Metabase. In order to do so, I create a new collection. Let's call it YouTube analysis. All right. And now we can upload the data. I must be careful because there is a max of 50 megabytes. So let's hope yes. All right. So as you can see now we have a table with the name Population Migration Asylum Decisions on Application. I jump inside and let's have a first look at the data. Something that we can clearly see is that there are columns that are not actually interesting to us. So what I can do is to duplicate no, it's not here. Metabase uploads, here we are. Okay, I think it's easier that I can hide completely certain column. Exactly. So we don't need, well, let's keep the row ID. We don't need the data flow. Right? We don't need the last update. I know it's a bit boring, but it will make our life easier. We don't need frequency. We don't need unit. We don't need citizen. We don't need the unit. We don't need citizen. As you can see, when I refresh, those columns disappear. Let's see. We don't need sex. We don't need age, because those are aggregated columns. So I can hide them. Then decision we need, because we have 6 unique values. Geo for sure we need. Time period we need. Obs value we need. Observation flags and conf status we can hide. All right. During the next video I will probably avoid this step. Then what we can do, we can change the table metadata. So for example, time period, we know that there is a semantic. Okay, 1 second, because probably I can do it first here. Time period. Visible. No. course, this is not what we want to do. Right. Okay, this should be it. At least we see the number. Can I still see the number like this? Okay. Observation value, this is 1,000. So I think we can keep it as it is. All right. So we have everything we need. First thing I want to explore is to have a overall look of this table. What we can do is to go to the table itself and try the X-rays this table feature from Metabase, just to have a look at what's going on. So we have 1,992 rows. We have an overview per year, so we have observation from 2015 till 2025. This doesn't look so interesting. And then we have also the decisions, so referring to the column decision. Negative decision, I guess, positive decision, humanitarian status, positive decision, refugee status, positive decision, subsidiary protection status, and then we have a total. As you can see, we have the same amount of rows. My guess is that total is the total. So, for example, we could already do something like time period. Maybe we can reduce the query because we don't need. Then we could sum of observation value, of course, and we could only select the decision. We want the total. We can visualize. Okay, here we have already something interesting, because we can see the total amount of asylum requests from 2015 till 2025. So roughly around 600,000 as average. With a spike to almost 1 million in 2020, and overall a decreasing trend. So let's save this question. Request total by year. We can add to a dashboard. New dashboard. We can call this let's try again to stick with the with the name of the dataset. Okay. Full width, I prefer full width. Okay. This is our first chart. We will make it nicer in a few minutes. Let's keep the dashboard open here. I can open again this query. Now, what can be interesting? For example, I would love to see, in terms of countries, how the different countries are doing. So instead of summarizing by time period, I summarize by country. Really important, we can sort by observation value descending. Okay, we can see that we have, let's change to this one. We have European Union, which aggregates all the countries, so we can actually exclude I guess we can exclude this one. We can save a new country by country. We can add to a dashboard, select, here we are. Really important, we need to exclude this value also from the initial query we made is not, voila. Okay, now the numbers are much more realistic. They are around 500,000 per year. Yes, something interesting is that it's in 2015 that we had the Syrian war. If I 2015, 2011. So it would have been interesting to understand the previous 10 years, let's say from 2005 at least, but we don't have this data. So what we can see is clearly how Germany is dominating the amount of total requests. So in 8 years, Germany has received 1 million asylum requests, followed by France, more or less half of it, Italy, Sweden, Greece, quite interesting, Austria, United Kingdom, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, the first observation is that the trend is decreasing, and I will say basically 4 countries are receiving 75% of asylum applications. what we can do is to probably change visualization like this. No. I want to duplicate and change visualization. Like this. I think it's quite significant how the 75% of requests is received by 4 countries out of 30 and more. Now, what else can be interesting? Let's say that we also have the possibility to summarize by decision. We have negative decision, we have positive decision. So I assume that the sum of negative, the sum of positive should be equals the sum of total. So if I take this number is identical to total, exactly. So let's assume that we don't go too much into details about positive decision reasons. For the sake of this analysis, to keep things simple, we exclude these details, let's say. What I'm interested is to understand if the approval ratio is kind of decreasing or increasing. So, to do so, we can simply divide positive decision to total, and we will have a positive decision ratio. Let's do it. So, I take the time period and I create a custom expression having total if decision equals if decision equals totals, then give us ops value, else give us 0. No aggregation fun. Of course, we can do something like this, I guess. Let's see. It doesn't allow me. A bit of real-life debugging. Aggregation should contain at least one aggregation formula. What if I put the aggregation at the beginning? Okay. So if I now filter just to check if it's correct, we should have identical number exactly. And now we divide. Okay, really important, we need to actually exclude geo exactly. I wanted just to check what was the name. Positive decision. So approval ratio, we need let's try to keep the indentation like this. Okay, this should be it. Here we are. Here we have our approval ratio. Now what we can do is to format as percentage. When I use percentage, I like to have only one decimal. Let's start to save approval ratio percentage. Right here. And now we can add it to the dashboard. Okay, it was already here. Okay, usually a percentage is better expressed with a line. And let's stick also to the blue. Okay, what we can observe is that in 2015 the approval ratio was around 16%, but in 2016 it jumps to 32, so it actually 2x, and it has been quite stable across the last 8 years, and now is around 26%. It means that on top of 100 asylum requests, 26 are approved. I want just to double check this value. So to do so, we take this one. Sorry. We filter by decision, only positive and only total. We exclude. Actually, it's really bad to include a data set with the total inside of it. Is not a good practice. So we aggregate by time period and we sum this. Just I want to see the table. Of course, I'm missing the decision. Okay, just to make the calculation manually, if I divide 50,605 divided 192,035, 026.4, which is identical to this one, so the results are correct. Now, of course, my next question will be how this approval rate changes accordingly to the different countries. And it's something we can easily do by adding also the geo here. It will be a bit messy at the beginning. Exactly. Of course, we cannot check everything at once. So what we can do maybe is to focus on the first few countries, even though I'm not really happy about it. Let's check only Germany, for example. Okay, yeah, basically Germany resembles exactly the overall trend because we know that Germany alone is almost the 50% of the asylum requests. Let's check France. Okay, this is interesting. France is increasing its approval rate. Let's check Italy. Also Italy, wow. Is it possible that Italy has an 80% approval rate? I doubt this is true actually. But data don't lie. If we trust this data, it means that these results are correct. Now, how can we display this information properly in our dashboard? So something we can do is to align the charts that are kind of connected between each other. What I mean by that, asylum request total by country, we are showing the same data into different visualizations. So it makes sense to keep them on the same on the same level. Would be nice to visualize the approval rate by country without having this mess. So, overall, the asylum requests are decreasing, but let's check the decision positive. Because this one is actually what is interesting. How many positive applications? We can put in this here. Now, I'm always a kind of a freak. It's kind of really important to me that everything is kind of aligned in a dashboard. I don't like when things are not symmetrical or more. So something has happened in 2021. We had a spike and then suddenly a decrease. This looks correct. It happened. Well, COVID happened. So somehow COVID drastically decreased the amount of asylum requests to Europe. Pretty interesting. Oh, we can have also approval ratio by country. We can sort approval rate descending. I will actually select only the top countries. We want Germany, we want France, we want Italy, Sweden, Greece, we want Austria, We want United Kingdom. We want Belgium. And that's it, I guess. I would like to see also per year. See if I can pivot table. Eccolo qua. Look how beautiful. Let's save it before I lose it. Approval ratio by geo. Temperature top 8 countries. We added this to the dashboard, of course. Here it is. This is quite interesting. Italy 100%. All right. Okay. Something we are not doing is to sort also by time period. This should be better. Yes. Okay. Okay, interestingly, United Kingdom, we don't get any data after 2018, so basically after Brexit. Yeah, indeed. Italy, after COVID, we had a massive surge in approval rate. Österreich, quite stable. What I would like to point out is that, of course, we should also take into account the population of certain countries. Because Germany is taking much more, or is receiving much more asylum requests than Bulgaria, obviously because the population of Germany is n times the population of Bulgaria. So somehow we should also consider this. So first of all, let me invert these charts here, because in terms of storytelling, I want to see the overall pictures, total by year, positive request by year. Then an overview by country. And then the approval rate. Yeah, quite interesting to see how the approval rate has increased in Germany, but then suddenly in the last 2 years, a massive decrease. something like we can't take them all anymore. France is kind of increasing. Italy, I have no explanation. An explanation might be to understand the type of positive decision. And to do so, we should probably analyze the positive decision reason: humanitarian status, refugee status, or subsidiary protection status. So my next step as data analyst will be to try to understand the Asylum request per capita. And to do so, we need data about population of European countries from 2015 till now. Now, how can we get this data? Just a random Google search like this: data sources, database, population. Okay, here we are, back to Eurostat. Population, national level. 1st of January. Let's have a look. Okay, this is exactly what we need, because we have population by here. Let's try to download this dataset. I want also to download the ID. Never mind. This one is the ID. TPS 4x01. TPS 4x0. I downloaded. If you remember, we use this kind of syntax to save the file. So population, demography, something like this. National level. All right. Theoretically, we can import directly on Metabase. Let me close everything we don't need. YouTube analysis. Then I will make some cleaning into this folder. We can create a new model. Right. This is it. Also, in this case, I would go in the admin settings and remove the columns we don't need. Data flow, we don't need. Last update, we don't need. Frequency, we don't need. Include, I don't think we need. geo we need. Then of course we do as we did before, time period, formatting. Alright, observation value, observation flag, let's hide it. Conf status, let's hide it, just to keep things easier to understand. Observation value, normal, 0 decimal place. Alright, look, so beautiful. We still have this, but actually I don't care so much. So what we can do now is to join the two tables. I want to understand for each year what is the percentage of positive application compared to the actual size of the country. So in order to do so, we have to we can use the query editor of Metabase, or we can use ChatGPT. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. So this is pretty interesting. I can go to database, Metabase upload. I can learn about this table. Usually what I do is I take this one and I take this one. Of course, I need to get better with the table name. Here and here. So I need a query in which you show basically I need a query in which you show for each country, for each year, the amount of positive asylum application compared to the total population size. So my goal is to understand if a specific country is increasing or decreasing the approval rate comparing to the actual country size. I want to understand if, for example, Spain is welcoming a bigger chunk of asylum application compared to Germany, taking into account the country size. I should have said that I'm using Postgres. Let's see if this works. It says that the table doesn't exist. So let's just check editor. Take this working query as example. Thinking. Almost 1 hour, guys. No results. So let's try to run this one. Okay, this one is the problem. This one is the problem because we need to actually have simply positive decision. And he's quite smart, he's also excluding it should work. Just let me check quickly. I really like how it divides the query using proper CTE. So two different queries, one for the asylum and one for the population. Just let me quickly check again how how's the population. So for example, if I take Albania, right, exactly what I was expecting. Now the positive per capita, we know that is a percentage. We should multiply because expressing it as percentage is not easy to read. We could have it as 1,000. Could we have? Actually, it's not too bad. The problem are numbers really, really small. We could express it, we could have as 1,000 or 1 million inhabitants. I am looking for ways to understand better those results. What do you think? What do you think? It's a better way. Implement it. Okay, he did both of them. Percentage, 1,000, 1 million. I think 1 million is the best way because it's quite a nice number to read. So I will keep 1 million. And actually is rounding. I don't want any. Oops, I don't want any round. I want, look at this, beautiful. So I really like to use tables inside my dashboard. So let's start to bookmark the dashboard. I like tables. For this reason, I will add the table. How can I call this query? I'm lazy. I just need ideas. Okay. YouTube analysis. I want to give asylum request IEL by country per capita. And I add to our dashboard at the end. Probably this one is the most interesting chart. It's not a chart, it's a table, but still is a chart. Okay, let's take it like this. Now, what we can do, I think, is to add a filter. No, it doesn't allow me. So, I can explore results. I can summarize by... Now, let me see again the table. I want to compare the different countries. And I want to see how the different countries develop throughout the years. So what I can do is I can have here, I can have the country, I can have some of positive, and is so smart that he realized automatically that I want a pivot. Okay, this is wonderful. So probably this one is way better than the one I already created. Per capita, let's call it pivot. Browse. Usually I should save queries directly inside the dashboard, but I put in a folder for the moment. So I will say I can remove this one. This is a wonderful table. All the European countries at once. It's a shame we don't have a United Kingdom, so let's have a look at the data. So something we could do is to add those numbers indicate the amount of positive Asylum applications approved for 1 million of citizens. Something like this. And as you can see, if I save, now I have a beautiful eye icon to explain better. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, wow, such numbers. So we have countries that are clearly receiving many more asylum applicants than others. is not surprisingly Poland with 0. Extremely low, Switzerland. I thought Switzerland was much more willing to accept asylum request. Spain, how is it possible Spain is so low, considering how they are pro immigration? I'm questioning the data. Let's have a look at something. Let me check Spain. Insanely low numbers. So this is the most significant picture in my opinion. So from what I can see, it's quite clear how there are countries which are observing a higher asylum applicants pressure than others. Which is quite revealing, because you expect European Union to act as a wall. So somehow those numbers should be quite similar. Interesting. Denmark is so low. What about Sweden? Sweden extremely low number. I need this chart also by positive. So I feel that decision is positive. So this is the query. Save. We can add it to our dashboard, actually next to, damn it, next to this one. It's a pity. I don't know where to put this one, but as you can see, this chart, this pie chart kind of breaks my symmetry. So I'm thinking to get rid of it, because actually you can clearly see also from these charts how there are 3 or 4 countries that are leading the effort. And I really like, because we have total on the left, positive on the right side. Then we have give a name to this section of my dashboard. So the first to charts. I like this one. I guess I can do something like this. Yes. Let's do this one. You see, I think I love ChatGPT because of this. Naming those things were a nightmare. Yeah, so this one just so something I don't like is that I'm using a heading. I should have used a title here, mostly because the title allow me to left bottom without background. It's much nicer. So I will do the same also for the other sections I created. I know I'm a bit boring, but developing a nice dialogue is really a matter of focusing on details that nobody cares about, but I do. Exactly, here I can use the markdown style. I can remove this one. Bottom. Done. And finally the last one is also a text. Damn it. I get crazy dragging, dropping stuff all the time. Tack. We say bottom. Sorry for my English, but when I type on ChatGPT, I don't care. I love this one. So should be it. This is quite a revealing picture. Wow. Every million inhabitants. I'm just trying to apply these numbers to cities like Rome, Naples, Milan. All the burdens of, let's say, immigration is on the shoulder of a few countries. Hungary 0, not surprisingly. Ireland, a crazy number. Iceland, wow. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do now is to make this dashboard public. And since it's more than 1 hour that I'm talking, I call it for today. I hope this has been an interesting exercise. Surely, for me, that's the case. I love to hear your questions, both about the analysis itself, the data, the asylum situation in Europe, but also about Metabase, data exploration, SQL, and more. I'm uploading this video on YouTube, and see you on the next one. Bye.